How dare you join us for a live stream when I've got an ice cream and Andy McEwen with me. Lewis, that's not Lewis Kent, is it? Is that his brother?
If it is, he's had a hard day, hasn't he?
He's got a lot of oil around his face, like Sterling Moss. TCR UK Race 2 is coming up. My head is burnt. I haven't even got any sun cream on. It's a nightmare. Nice though, these ice creams. Mel Going from Jamsport, who's working for Nicky Lyons at TCR UK, sorting us out here. But enough of that. Another Kent turning up. It's been a good day so far. Lots of drama, lots of news, lots of stories, lot going on.
Yeah, I don't know where to start, really. The first race was definitely dramatic. Max Hart non-scoring his first non-finish of the year, and that's going to really blow the championship wide open now. He could afford one bad result. He can't afford another one. And I don't know if they've got the problem fixed. So, yeah, there's going to be some nervous times at Jamsport and, of course, his big rival, Lewis Kent, on pole position.
Talking about nervous times, we're coming in the middle of a few things here. So what we'll do, follow me. We're going to go down this way so our marshal friends can sort a few things out. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Actually, we're going to talk to you, my friend. Motorsport. You do drive today for what we've just seen with the Civic Cup and stuff. Fully involved. It's great to have support as a partner and a sponsor. You must love racing if you're involved in it.
Yes, I take part in racing myself, and I've done for years, similar to yourself, Paul. But it's nice to give a bit back. So that's why we've been involved, basically.
See the good old Civic Cup race. No, this is TCR. Let's talk about that for a minute. Civic Cup mega race. It's good to be involved with it, but some really good kids coming through who can get into TCR UK.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased with some of the lads that are coming through from production. Actually, giving some of the Cup guys a run for the money. The Jenkins and is it Housel? I think his name. He was really good, and the fight for second place, I really enjoyed it. It was good.
Cool. How's that Twister, or whatever you got?
Oh, I've got a Magnum. Yeah. How about yourself?
I can't really be saying anything about this. It looks like some weird kind of... Anyway, let's forget about that. Right, I'm going to leave you to it. I'm just going to speak to Andy. So behind us, we've got the new haircut actually for Lewis Kent. If that haircut can go as well as his car, I think we should be sound.
It's definitely an improvement on the old model, I'd say. Car and haircut, definitely. It's interested to see how he gets on in this one. He looks calm and relaxed, doesn't he? Always does, though, doesn't he, Lewis?
Yeah, they're a good family team, aren't they? And they're always looking out for each other. His granddad giving him a bit of a pep talk, but you do see a lot of that, don't you, with that team? The family are helping out. They're all racers, actually. They've all done something, haven't they?
Yeah, and they started off 5 years ago in the championship, hard to believe, as the little team that could. They were basically a lad and dad team, and a really small operation going up against some really big teams with experience racing across the world. Chris Smiley's about to run me over, and it's really been nice to see them grow as the years have gone on, you know, and they've now become the team to beat, and bringing in the Veloster, got something coming in now as a new driver with them as well. So yeah, it's been nice to watch their progress.
Yeah, defo, mate. Should we go and we'll have a word actually, because he's not had the best of weekends, to be fair, but he has pulled out P1 for the reverse grid. New clutch in your car as well?
Yeah, new clutch. We actually had from lap 1 in that last race clutch slip, so I couldn't flat shift like everyone else who just keeps their foot flat on the throttle and clicks up the gears. Every time I changed gear, I had to lift off the throttle, click, and then back on the throttle. So, you know, in the last couple of laps, I was trying to still flat shift, trying to get a gap on Callum, but then it was just spinning the clutch. And you could see Callum literally in the straights just pulled right up to the back of my bumper. I had to park it on the apex and sort of send him out wide and then hold him there. But yeah, no, I've tried to find a Callum earlier, but I couldn't find him. But no, it was good racing towards the end. Obviously not what we wanted with the clutch problems, but it's good to get the reverse pole. I think we might be second now because I think someone might have dropped down, but yeah, it's looking good. Get a good launch, we'll get going.
Well, you don't want that again, a slipping clutch, because I can imagine coming out of Knickerbrook chicane going up Clay Hill where you need the clutch to work. You're probably defended into trees, which never usually happens, does it?
No, to be honest, even coming out the hairpin, you come out the hairpin and you back up that hill again, you click into third and the clutch would just slip and it would just rev and it wouldn't go anywhere, so you just sit and duck pretty much. But again, hold it on the white line and just hope for hell. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, I've heard that saying before, but anyway, that's something else. I'll catch you in a bit, mate. Have a good one. Let's go and speak to Chris Smiley. Some cars coming in here. Just watch out for Jamie Tonks. He'll probably turn 90 left and then he's going to reverse. Come with me anyway. Chris Smiley, I've not really spoken too much today. Chris, we are live, my man. Oh, mate, you were here last time and you were flying. It's not really been that kind of weekend, but still, good points on the board.
Yeah, it's been steady away pretty much. Our car handles unbelievably, but it's just so slow in the straights. Where the whole way around it's good, but once we go for the pull out of the hairpin, we're slow up there. We really struggle up Clay Hill as well. So that's, yeah, we're struggling balance of performance wise. You know, the car handles proper, but yeah, it is what it is. We've got to make the most of what we have. You know, some of the other guys at the front today have just not had that good of a day. So if this can be one of those days where we can grab a few points, and that's the day it's going to be.
If we're going to speak about balance performance and all that stuff, and both drivers ourselves, we don't want to moan about stuff like that. Yeah. It's just how it is, isn't it? Is it a difficult one to swallow when you know you've been so fast here, and then it's like, oh man, I just haven't got the straight line performance? It's not just power, is it? It's ride height and weight and all that kind of stuff.
I think ride height wise and stuff's about right, but I just think it's honestly just performance in the straight line. You know, you watched the Norris ring last weekend. The cars were pulling from a car length behind, pulling out and pulling a car length past with all the Hondas at the Norris ring last weekend. So we don't have any straights long enough where we get that effect. But if you're losing time in the straights, you only can make up so much time in the corners, and yeah. Especially around here, you know how hard it is to overtake around here. Whenever you have a little bit of a disadvantage in the straights, it's one of those things. But yeah, listen, we haven't had a bad day. You know, we've got a few points in that first race. You know, we hung on. Jamie Tonks drove really well in that race. So yeah, I think we're going to have I think it's going to be interesting. I think some of the cars at the front are maybe just not going to be as fast as what we envisaged. I think there's going to be a bit of a roadblock.
We'll see if they get bunched up, and we'll see how they get on. On that note, actually, let's go and speak to Jamie Tonks. Let's go back the way we come, because for me, it's a nice shot of Jess there, right in her head. That's actually my fault. Sorry about that. Right, okay, Tonksy just over here, giving it the big one. What was that? Then he looked like a C&A model, a really bad one. How's it going, lad? I've just finished my ice cream. Good day so far. Nice words from Chris Smiley, just saying he had a good race, and you were driving well, mate. It's going good.
It crossed my mind to fire him off at one stage, but I thought that'd be frowned upon. So yeah, no, it was nice and clean. I thought best to bring home some points and have another go this one.
Happy you changed car then?
Yeah, very much so. As much as the DSG car was lovely, this is just a bit better, isn't it?
They're a completely different car to drive, aren't they? We've spoken about it before. People who don't follow maybe DSG, it's like a normal road car gearbox, but a bit more racy. But now it's a sequential, like everybody else, is a proper racing car gearbox.
Oh yeah, even just simple as changing gear, it fudds through the gears, and you realise very quickly you're driving something a bit more serious. That's for sure.
Okay, listen, going to leave you to it. Sorry, my eyes wandering, mate. I'm just looking at a few people coming in. I want to speak to Jess Hawkins, actually. I know she's getting lined up, but you know Jess pretty well. She's your teammate. She's not having the best of times, mate. What was that right front puncher about?
I don't know what caused it, but she certainly deserves a bit of luck, doesn't she? I think she's gone through 3 or 4 tyres this year for just picking up some debris on the track or something like that. So, yeah, I hope she charges through. She deserves it.
Good man. Right, fella. Catching a bit. Okay, let's go and speak to some other people. Again, sorry about the back of my head, but I will drive into somebody, or walk into somebody. Brad Hutchison coming over to take his spot. He's going to be someone who's going to fly, actually. He's up in, I think he's up in P3. Jess is just getting into position, so we'll walk this way, but we will speak to Jess, who's just backing in. She's backing a car in now, so we will get hold of her. Lewis Kent having a little chat there with Callum. That's quite an interesting one, but Jess is just backing the car in. Hopefully it is Jess that's driving it. Yes, it is. That was a nice shot if you just seen Jack Constable with his hands down his kecks. Lovely. Let's not, absolutely not, mate. What, your overalls? Mate, I would suffocate in them overalls, mate. They look very, very thin. Hot and sexy. Very nice. Let's get back to the narrative. Listen, you, my friend, are not having the best of weekends, and I need to speak to you because I was speaking on the commentary, and it just looks like the car's unhappy, or you're unhappy with the car, or something's going on. You had a right front puncher. You won here last time out. It looks like a completely different animal.
This is so far away from where we were at the first round. I think we've got a few issues that we've been chasing all weekend. I'm hoping that this is at least a step in the right direction. But yeah, it's not been the weekend that we've hoped for.
I don't want to labour the point too much because I know that you are a race winner and it was around here that you did it. Can you just tell us then what feels so different? I know the temperature's different, but what is the why is the car feeling so different?
There are a few things on the car that are different, and we've been trying to find issues all weekend. We've still not found the issue, I think we've made headway with the issue now. Yeah. So at least, even if it doesn't fix it, I do believe it will be better, hopefully. But then moving forward to Coombe, hopefully we can maybe have a test day or something before that, so it's not the same there. But yeah, we have been chasing the pace this weekend. We haven't been fast all weekend, to be honest, but we were struggling yesterday as well. I thought that we didn't go new tyre there yesterday either, so I was hoping that new tyre would cure some of it, but we're still off the pace.
Yeah. Okay, listen, if anyone can turn it round, my friend, it is you, Jessica. So have a lovely time, and remember, not many people get to race like we do, and we are legends, mate.
Well, I am.
Oh, no, I don't need you to tell me that.
No, I'm joking. You are.
Have a good one, mate.
Thank you.
No worries. Right, always nice to speak to Jess. Be good to speak to Anne Eels in a minute. He's going to be turning around and backing in, but let's not worry about that for now. Let's not bother with Jack Constable, because he was just being annoying to me a minute ago. All right, follow me. Actually, where's Scotty? Where's Scott gone? Scott's gone on do you know what the funny lot these actually? And do you know what happens? Because Scott's gone on a walk. I was going to here he is, Harry Potter. Can you call people Harry Potter? It's not really. It's not fancy.
He needs to get a mark on it, like a little scar.
Well, a scar like.
Yeah.
They're all taking the. I nearly said the P word then. They're taking the mickey out of you, mate. Anyway, forget that Harry Potter joke. What's going on? I've seen you in and out the pits before.
Yeah, no, I just had a few problems with the spark plug that race, so we found it out, and then hopefully this one we can move forward.
Yeah. Mate, it looks like the speed's there. You just need some momentum going forward, don't you?
Yeah, I feel like just need to get that momentum. We're learning every single round, so yeah, just hopefully get that momentum going and yeah, keep on going.
That's what people forget, isn't it? That you haven't actually done that much, to be fair, and front wheel drive is not as easy as people think. They just think, oh, it's just an understeer car, you just have to come off the throttle, and it's not. Like, these are more leery. Front wheel drive cars I find more dangerous than rear wheel drive cars.
Yeah, no, they are. Well, this is a handful to drive, and it's certainly a lot to get used to, but yeah, no, I'm getting used to it every round, just keep on learning and progression, so yeah, no, it's good.
Top man. Right, Scotty, we'll leave you to it.
Cheers,
keep in the shade, boys. That's what you want, keep in the shade. Right, let's take a left my way, because there'll be more people coming in. Oulton Eels is that way, but we don't need to speak to him anyway. We'll speak to him in a bit. Actually, I'm going to speak to Daryl, because we never really ever speak to Daryl that much. Daz, what's going on, mate? My word, have you been doing the Daz challenge? How clean are the overalls?
I wash my teeth.
Mate, I'm loving it. Car's looking good. It's looking clean inside. Looks like you just need to find a little bit more pace, mate. But this isn't the circuit for this car, would I be right?
Yeah, we always struggle when we come to Oulton. You don't like any tight corners, like through the hairpin or the chicane. So yeah, we always struggle. But in that race, you went too bad. I was running P13 or in the pack with P10, so I could have put it on pole. But I had a blowout on the left rear. And then I had contact with Jess Hawkins, because I didn't realise you were a blowout, and I couldn't stop the car, so yeah. So I was starting from the back, and just looking to go for the field and do it best I can, really.
I did see that. That was into Knickerbrook chicane, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. So yeah, I couldn't do nothing about it, and it was just, like I said, I had a puncture when I arrived there, so I couldn't stop the car, and we just had contact. But yeah, like I say, looking forward, and just put my head down and try to keep out of trouble, really.
Top man, listen, I'll leave you to it. I like your seat, by the way. That's a full-on carbon fibre tillet seat. Looks like it's out of a cart.
Yeah, I love them. Tell the truth, one of the best chairs you could ever get.
Look at that, he's just got himself a sponsorship deal with Tillet. Very nice. Nice one, Captain. Right, sound. Max, can I just quickly speak to you, mate? You keep getting changed, mate. Keep getting changed. I know how it is. Where do we start? Mate, what is going on?
Yeah, it's sort of gone from hero to zero, really. Yeah, I don't know. This is trying to put everything behind me now so I don't overdrive for this race, but yeah, I just want to get out there and get my head down and get through the pack. I'm lucky this time I don't have to wait for 10 seconds, so that'll hopefully give me a bit more chance to catch the leaders.
Cool. What happened in that race? We just seen you pull off.
Yeah, so the water temp on my dash went up to 102, but when it passes 100 it just switches the car off. So initially it switched off, so I just powered the whole car off, rebooted up, and it was at 80, so I drove on again another couple of 100 metres, and then it happened again, so I just pulled in. Better safe than sorry. We think it's just a sensor, so we fixed that.
Cool, man. I keep seeing your eyes going to the top of my head. Is it my fringe that impresses you, or is it the suntan that I've caught today?
You're just so gorgeous, that's what it is.
Nice one, mate. Love that. Listen, good luck, Max. Hope it goes well, mate. You deserve it. The team deserve it. The whistle. Are we at a football match? What's going on? So that whistle is to get your engines fired up, and I reckon that means we should go back to Andy McEwen in the comms box. See you in a bit.
For voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world, choose Maximum Networks.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. The 9th round of the TCR UK Championship is our next on-track action here at Oulton Park, and we've got the cars heading out around to the grid now ahead of what is set to be, I think, a fantastic race. It's got all the ingredients you could need for a dramatic 25 minutes of racing. We've got the top 10 finishers from race number 1 reversed. Quite a bit of tension in the paddock, I think it's fair to say, with a couple of penalties after the previous race. Some drivers just not having a very good weekend and wanting to try and turn it around, including a driver who starts on the front row of the grid in Lewis Kent, the reigning champion, and a championship battle this season which continues to get closer and closer. On outright points, Isaac Smith, despite not having a race victory so far this season, has actually moved ahead of Max Hart now to take the championship lead. It's 233 points for Isaac Smith, 228 for Max Hart. Then it's 207 for Lewis Kent in third, and Chris Smiley in fourth on 194. And on outright points, at least, those four really distancing themselves from the rest of the field. However, once you apply the two dropped scores, well, that benefits Max Hart. He jumps back into the championship lead with 213 against 191 for Chris Smiley, 188 for Isaac Smith, and 179 for Lewis Kent. So it really does look like those are the four drivers over this second half of the season who are going to contest the 2022 TCR UK Championship. But which of those four will be the champion, quite frankly, is anyone's guess, because, Paul O'Neill, every time we start thinking that we're wrapping our heads around this, figuring out who the favourite, if you like, is to win the championship, there just seems to be another curveball.
Yeah, it's typical tin tops, isn't it? Tin top racing. It's always seems to be the case when we're talking about any kind of tin top series. But when you get to the top and you're at TCR UK level, those stories become even bigger, don't they? So yeah, a lot going on, and this is an interesting poll, this, isn't it? We've got the front row. This could be a very, very interesting place to be.
Yeah, because it's Matthew Wilson on pole position in the Cupra Leon Competition, the new shape Cupra, of which we're hoping to get a few more in the championship in the future. And he's got alongside him Lewis Kent in car number 1, who is having an off weekend. He tried to convince us that he was playing the game in race 1 and just wanted to finish at the back of the top 10. Remember, had that off in qualifying this morning, hasn't really been on the pace ever since. And he tried to convince us that he wanted to start at the front of this grid. That's why he was at the back of the top 10. I'm not convinced I believe him, but let his money where his mouth is time now, because he's on that front row of the grid. And we know that when things are working with that car, it's a race winner. It's won 2 races already this year, Paul.
Yeah, it has, and there's no reason why he can't do that again. So we'll see what the score is with it. But yeah, proper. I'm interested in this one because even speaking to Nikki Lines, who has a massive involvement in the championship and runs it for Stuart, because Stuart's rubbish at everything else, the promoter. Even she said, I am feeling that this is going to be a proper spicy race. And if the championship organiser's saying that, then I think we've got to watch this race, and yeah, it should be good.
Well, and you'll know this as a driver, Paul, and certainly as someone who's watched Tin Top Racing go at a very high level for a number of years. You get to this point of the year, we're past the halfway point now. I've started talking about championship points, all the drivers are starting to think about the points. First thing Isaac Smith asked me when I saw him after race 1, what's that done to the points? And that's when that pressure cooker environment on the grid and on the track just starts to boil and boil and boil. And eventually it boils over, and that's when you get drama. We've seen hints of that today, and I do think this race has all the ingredients of it being that race where it just all kicks off.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, Oulton Park is a pinch point, for the championship. I think, like you say, people are starting to just play this like a chessboard to see where they can go, but it's a pinch point. And the reason I say that is because it's midway through, like you say, it's past midway through, but it's now or never. These guys have got to get themselves involved in the championship. If they want to be in there, it needs to be here. But the other problem they've got is it's so tight. This is where that move for 3rd place to get more points can end up with you 15th. If this was another track where it's quite open, then it wouldn't be a big problem. But here, this can either end in the barrier or on the grass and 10 plates gone.
Yeah, it's risk-reward, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they've got to make these decisions at over 100 miles an hour in the baking heat in a 25-minute race, inches apart from their rivals. It's not the easiest thing to do, I can imagine. The grid has been cleared, though. They're about to go off onto their green flag lap once the last of the team personnel are out into the pit lane and into the shade, I would imagine, which there is a little bit available to them in the pits. The green flag is now about to be waved, and we will send them off onto their green flag lap. They'll have a chance, hopefully, to run through the grid as well as they do so. And as you can see, it is that Cupra on pole. Matthew Wilson hasn't yet been showing race-winning pace in that car, but track position here at Oulton is so important that maybe, just maybe, if he gets off the line well, he could be a contender at the very least for a podium. It would be the first podium in the championship for that new-shaped Cupra. So let's see then if we can have a look at the grid, the 19 cars, hopefully, that will line up on the grid. And Max Hart towards the back of it, one to watch for sure. Matt Wilson then on pole position with Lewis Kent alongside. A really important race for Lewis. He needs to try and score well if he can. Brad Hutchison, one to watch in the Audi. He's quick when he gets near the front. And Bruce Winfield will share that second row with him. Andy Wilmot, he's gunning for a podium. That's what he said to Paul after race 1, and he could do it from 5th. Whilst Jamie Tonks in 6th has arguably the best long-run pace in the second half of the race. Watch for that Cupra to move forward. Then we start getting into some more of our championship contenders. Chris Smiley and Isaac Smith sharing the 4th row of the grid. And then the top 2 from the race earlier on today, Adam Shepherd and Alex Lee, who took the Hyundai i30N's 20th TCR UK race victory earlier on. And Walt Neals in the Subaru has Callum Newsham alongside. Now, Walt Neals was the one who was given a 4-second penalty for a driving standards infringement in the earlier race, so he will start instead of inside the top 10. He will actually start 11th with Newsham alongside him. Newsham was also given a tyre penalty in race 1 due to exceeding track limits. Then it's Bradley Kent 13th, Jess Hawkins in 14th position, Jack Constable, who had issues in the earlier races, 15th, Scott Sumpton for company. Daryl Wilson's Astra is next, Max Hart from 18th on the grid, but as he said, no 10-second delay this time. He just leaves the grid with everyone else, and we know he's usually a pretty good starter, and it should be Neil Trotter at the back of the grid, 19th and last of the 19 runners here this weekend. So out they go onto the second part of their green flag lap, and what must be going through Matt Wilson's head here, because he is surrounded by drivers who are not going to take it easy on him. He's got this brand new shiny Cupra, which he doesn't really want to get dinged up, but he knows this is probably the best opportunity he's had all season long for a result.
Well, it is, but let's just break it down. This is the biggest race of his life, full stop. He hasn't been racing for an amazingly long time. He's got massive front wheel drive experience, champion in VW Cup, but this is another level, and this is the biggest race that he's ever had today. And what is going through his mind is exactly the right question. But okay, he's pulled it out of the hat really with where he's qualified for this particular race, but still he's got a chance here. I had a little word with him before, and I just said, you know, mate, get your head down. If you need to, you know, if you drop back and you need to overtake people, just release the brakes and just get down the inside of people. And you can't give up. You can't give up when you get something like this. You can't give up, because if you do, you never know when you're going to get another pole or reverse pole race again. Yeah, opportunities to win these races don't come around every week. So yeah, seize that opportunity, Matthew. I'm sure that's what he's going to be trying to do. He then starts on the left of shot, the inside line, as they head towards Old Hall Corner, with number 1 Lewis Kent alongside him. The blue Audi is Brad Hutchison. The white, blue and orange Cupra is Bruce Winfield. And towards the back, the green, white and black Selco liveried Hyundai on Max Hart is one we will definitely be training our eyes to, as the erstwhile championship leader tries to get himself back out in front. Green flag waved at the back of the grid. The 9th round of the TCR UK Championship for 2022 about to burst into life. The revs start to rise. The lights will go out now, and it's not a good start by Matt Wilson. Lewis Kent is going to get the early advantage on the run towards the first corner. 3 wide further back because Hutchison was quite slow away too. It's Lewis Kent who leads them into Old Hall Corner. Wilson in second, Winfield on the outside of him though. Charging around the outside into second spot. Brilliant start from Winfield, who comes through from the outside of row 2 to second as they run down the avenue for the first time. A few people checking up further back, but they concertina together into the left-hander at Cascades. Wilson out wide again. He might lose third here to Jamie Tonks, and then it's Andy Wilmot. Wow, look at what a start, and Wilson just dropping down the pack. He just needs to compose himself, get himself together. Brad Hutchison late on the brakes. He's down the inside of Isaac Smith in the 1-2-3 Golf. Smiley wide out the hairpin, cuts back across. All looks like pretty much status quo, but that doesn't look like status quo. That's 2 abreast. So that is Isaac Smith versus Hutchison, and everyone else is 2 abreast. How's that going to end?
Yeah, not a great start that for Hutchison, was it? He's gone down the order, as has Matthew Wilson. Further back, Jack Constable and Max Hart are together. Hart already picking off a few of the stragglers and trying to work his way up towards the top 10 as they exit Knickerbrook for the first time. Clean first lap though, Paul, which so far at least, which I'm happy to see. Oh, that was contact to Scott Sumpton. Disappeared over the top of the hill, and he is on the grass at the top of Clay Hill. Did he manage to save that one? There's more dust in the background. They're both still there. Scott Sumpton still having a massive moment, but that aside, Paul, a clean first lap, which is what you like to see from a reverse grid.
Wow, that nearly all ended it, didn't it? It had to rely on Scott there just getting the opposite lock on and getting the car straightened up and driving out. So that's done and dusted. Still, look at this. Oh, car's getting squeezed on the grass. There's all sorts going on. And I tell you what, this is going to be a proper race.
Andy Wilmot's challenging Tonks for third. We shouldn't be surprised anymore when we see this. But Andy Wilmot, I don't know what he had for breakfast this morning, but I think I'm going to try and take up the Wilmot diet, because he is on a mission and he can see his opportunity for a podium. And the race lead gap is coming down as well. Bruce Winfield chasing after Lewis Kent as Chris Smiley slips up the inside of Matt Wilson. Isaac Smith will come through on the inside of the hairpin as well, and Matt Wilson just struggling here on low tyre pressures in the early stages, I think, and it looks like even Brad Hutchison will have a sniff around behind him. We need to see the race leaders though, because Bruce Winfield is asking all the right questions now of Lewis Kent, who for whatever reason just does not have the pace here today in the Veloster, and Winfield, looking for his first win of the year, remember, is not going to want to say no to this opportunity.
No, definitely not. So hopefully for Lewis in the championship car from last year, well, it's not the championship car from last year, but the champ from last year, he's had that slipping clutch, but it's been fixed. So someone down the inside of Max Hart as well as the cars go through shot. But yeah, looking real fast. Oh, Kent is having a nightmare there. Winfield is on here. Winfield is on for the win.
Well, Winfield, who was runner-up last year, has not so far this year been able to unlock that potential that he showed, especially in the second half of 2021. Could today be the day that we finally put a smile on his face? He's certainly challenging for the lead, but hasn't yet found a way through. And of course, as they start to battle, so Tonks and Wilmot are getting closer. And then you've got some of the other heavy hitters in the championship. Smiley and Smith are also closing in. This could easily go from a great race to a terrible race for Lewis Kent. If he loses one place here, he could lose several.
Yeah, that final sector, though, for Kent, unless he has just got a very nervous car and it's just starting to come to him now, he was probably being a bit steady. But I'll tell you what, Lewis Kent now, in the final sector, is so fast through Druid, through the final corner lodge. But now it looks like he's got to struggle through Cascades, and it'd be interesting to see how close he is to having that lead taken off him by Winfield as they come out of the hairpin and down towards Knickerbrook. And I'll tell you what, it looked like he was defending them, but it looks like he's just trying to get the car straight and powered at the hill. Yeah,
Lewis Kent now starting to walk to the task, isn't he? Although it is a purple first sector for Bruce Winfield, faster than anyone's been so far. The fastest lap belongs to Isaac Smith in the Golf. He's chasing on after Chris Smiley, whilst Alex Lee, the race 1 winner, is sort of stuck behind Ant O'Neill's Subaru and is not an easy person to overtake. And for 10th place, he's not going to roll over and allow Alex through. And Alex's chance of taking 3 race wins in a row perhaps now being hampered by the stubborn Subaru in front, which is not going to move aside for him. But a good battle developing there as the top 9 start to break away from them.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you could be stuck behind, is the Subaru's got fantastic traction and great on the brakes. And when you're at Oulton Park and you're trying to get past somebody who's got that, then it's difficult because he could get down the inside there, but he's got no chance because the Subaru's so good on the brakes. Max Hart involved.
Max Hart is on the tail of this group. He can see a top 10 finish in the offing here as the leaders go through. Alex Lee trying to close in and have a go at Walt Neils into the first quarter. These two tangled, remember, at Donington Park in the reversed grid race and took Walt Neils out of a race that he had actually led some laps in, and they will want to not recreate that here at Oulton Park. The lead gap, 0.6 of a second, but Lewis Kent was fractionally quicker than Winfield to take the fastest lap. That in itself is worth a bonus point, remember, for Lewis. Winfield, though, sticking with him pretty much. Wilmot still applying the pressure to Jamie Tonks, but they're all just continuing together, aren't they? Smiley, Smith and Hutchison are closing in, and this is all going to get more and more congested until something has to give.
Definitely going to have some kind of concertina effect here, aren't we? But Tonks is the one that's got a bit of space in front of him to Winfield for 3rd place. And look at the flashing lights. Alex Lee is not having any of it from Ant O'Neill's. He's basically telling him, mate, get out of the way. That car is not fast enough to be in front of me. But the wily old fox Ant O'Neill's will be having none of that. That rear of that car looks like a trailer. It just looks like it's sliding all the way over the circuit just to get turned in.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news for Max Hart, facts, but his bonnet is not at all secured. The right-hand side of the bonnet has come loose and it's wobbling in the wind even more. We might get a head-on shot of it now, heading down towards Lodge Corner, but that green and white Hyundai at the back of the group might be about to run into a problem, because if the clerk of course spots that, he'll be dragged straight in to get it fixed. Let's hope that's not the case. Lewis Kent back through, Winfield still 2nd, Tonks 3rd, Wilmot still looking good in 4th, actually gapping slightly, Smiley, Smith and Hutchison, then Shepherd into 8th ahead of Matt Wilson, and Ant O'Neill still hanging on to the top 10.
I have just seen a move being put on Bradley Kent by Max Hart, so he's gone up another place. That was just at the first corner, Old Hall. So, yeah, it's looking like he's really making his way through.
Yeah, he has got that place, hasn't he? And he'll now chase after these two, Walt Neils and Lee, who are still fighting over 10th position. Into the braking zone they go. Alex Lee closing in, and Bradley Kent back on the inside of Max Hart. Look at that, into the hairpin. He locks up, but does not run wide. And that almost backed Hart back into Callum Newsham. Max tries to get the overlap on the exit and can't quite do it as he comes over Hilltop down towards the Hislop chicane. Bradley Kent will have to defend to the inside. Max Hart goes to the outside line. Late on the brakes for Bradley Kent, though, and he'll hang on too late on the brakes. Straight on he goes, and that, in the end, made Max Hart's life a lot easier.
Yeah, I didn't really see much of a lock-up there, though. Was that some kind of mechanical problem?
Well, he's very slow rejoining, actually. He might just be letting the traffic go. No, that's a problem for Brad, isn't it? We've said that a few times this year. Bradley Kent, another mechanical issue. Well spotted that, Paul. That was not just a simple mistake.
Yeah, talking about mistakes, Winfield is now looking seriously quick, and he nearly made a massive mistake. He's got dust on his left rear. That's why the car just oversteered. The rear lost grip as he went into that last corner. He exited Druids on the grass. That's what the dust was. So Brucey Winfield, he wants this win. He ain't looking for 2nd place, mate.
No, Winfield wants the win. He needs the win, really, for his morale, I think, because it has been starting to slip over recent rounds. Jamie Tonks, by the way, in 3rd place, fastest lap. Now, this has been a perfect race for Jamie because he stayed inside, he stayed in touch with the leaders, moved into 3rd place, and we know he only gets quicker as the race gets on. So in race 1, he was significantly faster than Winfield and Lewis Kent in the final 10 minutes. We've got 17 minutes left. Jamie Tonks is well and truly still in this conversation for a race win.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely involved, and this is really starting to concertina up, isn't it? I'd like to say Lewis is managing this from P1, but I don't think he is. This is starting to get a bit worrying now for me if I was a Lewis Kent fan, because Winfield can smell blood and it looks very stable, his car.
Is there anything you can see from Lewis's car? I mean, we're getting our best look at it all day, really, as it's the race-leading car. Is there anything you can see that might suggest why the pace isn't quite there, if there is some legacy maybe of that off in quali?
No, not really. If anything, look how fast it is. I mean, it's superbly quick. He pulls out of the Knickerbrook chicane and going through Druids, he pulls like 4 car lengths. It's only when he gets... Lodge corner's not too bad for him as we come through, but then the next set of corners, you'll see Bruce Winfield back on his tail. Look at the gap here, but the next corners, turn 1 and 2, Old Hall and Cascades, it looks like he's not too... He's just not too au fait with how it's going to turn in and respond. As look at that, you can see visibly Winfield in P2 and P3, they're very much a quicker car through turns 1 and 2. Back on the case of him.
Yeah, that mid-corner speed for Old Hall just wasn't there. It's the same story down at Cascades. Max Hart news, by the way. He's passed Alex Lee and Dan Wharton-Eels on that lap, so Hart is now into 10th place. He is some 3.5 seconds behind the next little group there, which is Adam Shepherd and Matt Wilson fighting over 8th position. Isaac Smith helping Chris Smiley round the hairpin. These two, honestly, the amount of times I've seen them nose to tail this season, it's remarkable how evenly matched they are. Many years of experience difference between them, but Chris Smiley cannot shake off the youngster, and Isaac actually tries the inside of the Hislop chicane. That was never likely to work, but he's applying the pressure and just might force a mistake out of the Irishman.
Yeah, and that Honda, the amount of daylight I see underneath the rear axle when it turns is unbelievable. As it comes up and over Clay Hill, you'll see it. As you turn in, we said it earlier on, as it turns in for Druids, it just cocks up a rear right as it goes through. Look, the wheel is off the floor. You never usually see that in a really high-speed corner. Sometimes you'll see it on the brakes on initial turning, but into the mid and the exit of the corner doing that just shows how much they're struggling with the front of the car. They're trying to get as much grip off the rear as they can in Smiley's Honda.
Yeah, understeer has been the buzzword of the day here in the heat at Oulton Park, and they're doing everything they can to get the car rotated. Right now, at the front of the field, the battle now I think is about to become for second place, because Bruce Winfield, I get the feeling, has had his shot at going after Lewis Kent, and now he's starting to watch his mirrors more than he's looking out of the windscreen, because look how close Jamie Tonks is getting. We're into the second half of the race now. This is Tonks territory, and he's got Bruce Winfield in front of him. Remember, Bruce being run out of the area motorsport warning as well, so these two are sort of teammates. I wonder whether if Jamie is significantly quicker than Bruce, how much of a fight Bruce is going to put up here.
Yeah, but I think Bruce is a fighter, because this is critical now. 14 minutes of the race left, and if Winfield starts to back Tonks up, that's going to bring Wilmot into the party, and I think Winfield's shot his bolt, like you said before, so that now is a problem, and Tonks needs to make a decision, and he needs to make it quick, and he needs to get past him at maybe Lodge, because Wilmot's looking rapid.
Yeah, Wilmot's not being dropped. They're dropping Chris Smiley and Isaac Smith, two of the championship contenders. They're not dropping Andy Wilmot, who really is still in this fight for a podium place. It's just letting Lewis Kent off the hook ever so slightly in the race lead. He had a 7/10 of a second advantage at the start of this, the 8th lap of the race. Very sideways further back for Isaac Smith, but someone in this lead group is going to have a go, otherwise it will be follow the leader for the remaining 13 minutes, and that isn't really the TCR UK way.
No, not at all, and it's starting to bunch again. There's still a lot of racing left here. 13 minutes to go across the line, and Lewis will be looking and thinking, please, 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 Bruce, can you back them up, mate, back them up. But if Tonks gets past P2 Winfield, then we've got game on here, unless Winfield just backs off, cools everything down and goes again, because Winfield for me is the fastest car on circuit and has the fastest lap.
Fastest lap of the race actually now belongs to Max Hart. As you say that, he's half a second quicker than the leader, 7.8 off the lead in 10th place, but he certainly should have the pace to gain a few more positions. Just as I said that Winfield was dropping away from Lewis Kent, look how he's closed back in. So was that Bruce maybe just cooling things off, trying to calm things down, so that he can have another go now over the next few laps, because he all of a sudden has really shrunk that advantage that Lewis Kent had.
Wow, well, I'll tell you what, I know this is looking tight up front, but Max Hart with that fastest lap is 6/10 of a second quicker than anybody on circuit, and he's actually now, he's like half a second consistently quicker than anybody as they go through the laps, so he is looking pretty quick.
Yeah, he is. I'm pretty determined and fired up as well, is Max Hart. Lead us back through Druids. Again, this yo-yoing gap out front. Oh, Lewis a bit too wide that time through Druids, though. That will have compromised his exit speed, but you're right. The run up the hill, that Veloster is very slippery, isn't it? It's a very aerodynamic car, and I think he's good in a straight line. What was that, Paul?
That was a big, big sideway from Tonks. Tonks has dropped off this battle. What's going on here? That's for the lead. Is that a problem? It's a problem, is it? Or is he had a bad exit? No, it looks like he's slowing down. No, it looks like it's a proper race.
I don't know what's going on. Lewis Kent suddenly slowed
Mr. Gear, is he?
He must have done something like that. Gets into the back of Bruce Winfield. Anyway, Winfield leads them down the avenue, but Lewis Kent is coming back at him, side by side into Cascades corner. Right round the outside goes Lewis Kent. The car gets sideways. He runs out wide, and Winfield surely will get the lead. Can Tonks go with him? Yes, he can. It's an area Motorsport 1-2, and Tonks immediately challenges for the lead. It's side by side between the Cupras. Winfield on the inside of the hairpin, Tonks on the outside, and Lewis Kent will be kicking himself and desperate to get back into this.
Well, he's out of it now because Tonks has got super traction. Tonks now on the outside of his teammate Bruce Winfield. Winfield looks like he's struggling with straight line speed as they head down side by side into Knickerbrook. Bang! Oh, look at that, into the back, and that was Lewis Kent into the back of Winfield, and
Wilmot.
now Wilmot's in there. Well, what's going on with Wilmot? And you've got Smiley's involved. Smith coming through. Wilmot in the middle of the pack, but look, the new leader is up the road.
I said something had to give, and I think it just gave. That is Jamie Tonks from third to first in the space of 3 corners. Winfield somehow is still second, but it is all changed behind. Andy Wilmot got mugged by Chris Smiley at Knickerbrook corner, so Smiley moves through into fourth behind Lewis Kent. Wilmot down to fifth, and that critically puts a car now between Smiley and Smith for the first time all race long. Max Hart, of course, is rubbing his hands with glee because there are still 10 minutes to go, and this lot of tripping over each other, and the Irishman gets closer and closer to them by the corner.
Yeah, and it looks like in the background, Isaac Smith trying to stick one on the inside of Wilmot, comes back in, can't do it. Brad Hutchison having a move put on him as well. This is getting very, very close, and I've got to say, I hope it stays like this because I've not seen anything that would offend me as a driver at the minute. This is proper tin top stuff.
Now, Lewis Kent and Chris Smiley absolutely fighting for the championship lead here, remember, with Isaac Smith as well closing in, so this is a really important battle. Chris Smiley is up into fourth, he's on the tail of the Veloster, which clearly is not operating well here today, and Isaac Smith's in the door of Andy Wilmot. Wilmot, in fairness, left that door wide open, but hangs on to the place as they come off the hairpin. But yeah, Chris Smiley versus Lewis Kent. This is one of those moments now, Paul, which could be championship defining. If Lewis Kent can fend off Chris Smiley for 9 minutes here, that could be something that proves to be really important from Snetterton at the end of the year.
The one thing that will keep him in front of Chris Smiley is this corner coming up. Druids corner. That car looks absolutely rapid. It's on its toes. It doesn't need much braking. It just gets braked, down a gear, sent in, and it's driven through the corner. The last corner is okay as well. The only problem that car looks like it has got, now I've seen it against Smiley, is the fact it just cannot brake as late as everyone else. That Honda just drives up to the back of it on the brakes.
And Ward Neal's there going slowly. He is pit lane bound. The leader's about to come through. Now that gap between Tonks and Winfield at the start of the lap was 8 tenths. It's down a tenth this time around. So actually Winfield coming back at Jamie Tonks slightly. Lewis Kent third. Chris Smiley closing in as they head towards Old Hall corner, but isn't quite close enough to pull a move. 8.5 minutes to go. Lots of dust through in the air there, and Smiley quick through Old Hall.
Lewis is in trouble here. Lewis is in big trouble. I think Smiley is going to be all over him like a rash as they go down to the hairpin. Look at that. He can't get the car turned in. It's not great on the brakes. Smiley has got to go for a move now, and Lewis will defend all the way down this straight. Look, he knows he's going to try and get down the inside.
Oh, Isaac Smith up the inside of Andy Wilmot. That was a bold move and clean pull.
What a move. Proper move. But look what's happened now. Shepherd, out of nowhere, is run onto the back of this, cruised up, and he wants a bit as well. This is a proper battle. Smiley smells blood.
Yeah, absolutely. Down into his lop chicane they go. Max Hart, by the way, no longer catching this group as quickly as he was, so I don't know whether he is going to be able to improve on the... well, he's actually now shown us 12th place, so Max Hart is in the pit lane. Max Hart's in the pit lane, as is Brad Kent and Jess Hawkins, but Max Hart is out of the car and out of the race. It's another non-finish for Max Hart, his second of the day. 0 points from Oulton Park for the championship leader. That is big.
Massive news. That is huge news, and just something... he really didn't need this, and that is absolutely horrendous timing. But I am concerned now as we look at the other people who are involved in this championship fight. Is Lewis Kent. That car does not look like it is firing on all cylinders. He is hanging on to that thing through Druids to stay in front of Smiley, because Smiley is throwing everything at him. Two different lines through the first corner, and Smiley just cruises up to the back of him, and that is where he's vulnerable. Isaac Smith, on the other hand, looked properly quick behind Smiley. He could dispose of both of them if they get a bit naughty. He's close. This could be it. This could be a big lunge. If he gets this right, he could be in the pound seats. Look at Smith.
Yeah, Chris Smiley knows it's coming though, doesn't he? Pulls to the inside, so Smith just sends it to the outside instead. Might even get both of them. He's super late on the brakes. Kent parks it on the apex. Can Isaac Smith drag level with Chris Smiley? Yes, he can. The wide line for the Golf. Move of the day from Isaac Smith round the outside of Chris Smiley at the Island hairpin to take 4th place away. And with Hart out of the race, this is for the championship lead now between Lewis Kent, Isaac Smith and Chris Smiley. That was proper stuff from Isaac Smith. Super impressed with that.
Take your hat off, because that was proper stuff. Smith now knows with those flashing brake lights he's got a bit of pad knockoff. Let's see how this new car of Lewis Kent deals with the pressure of this Golf, because he still looks nervous. It's quick enough through this last bit, but that Golf, it's trusty. It's an old car, but it's on it, and this is where he's going to try and get him down here, because this car is not great on the brakes. He knows already it's going to have to be a shock into the next corner. He's so close now as they come out of the last corner. The run now up towards Old. If he's close enough, he'll be able to get underneath him into Cascades.
And we know Lewis is struggling at this first corner in particular. Lewis having to go almost offensive on the way in. Now, can he get the Veloster turned into the corner? Looks a bit better this time, but mid-corner, he just seems to stop accelerating almost. And Isaac Smith gets the run again. He's tapping the brakes, making sure the pedal's going to work when he gets down to Cascades. There are 5.25 minutes left of this fantastic race, and Isaac Smith is there. He's right on the tail of Lewis Kent out of Cascades. Now, can he, for the 3rd lap in a row, make a move into the Island hairpin? He's made a move on the inside. He's made a move on the outside. This time, though, he's not quite close enough. Lewis Kent knew where to place the car, and for the time being, hangs on to 3rd.
Yeah, look, though, he's covered him off straight away. Lewis is wounded. Something is not right. That car just is not great. Braking performance is not there for that car. But as they come down now into the Nickelbrook chicane, he's going to have to really think about what his next move is, because there's no way he's going to get close enough through Druids and then down into Lodge. But Lewis Kent is wringing the neck of that car.
Yes, he is indeed. Isaac Smith in the slipstream towards Druids corner. Now, the Golf does seem to be able to stick with the Veloster through this part of the track a bit better than some of the other cars, so let's see whether Isaac can use that to his advantage. Adam Shepherd, by the way, has picked his way to 6th place now, ahead of Andy Wilmot, so Adam Shepherd continuing to move forward, but still, somehow, Lewis Kent, a champion's drive this from Lewis, in a car that is not working well. He is somehow holding on to 3rd, keeping his championship rivals at bay, and actually, despite being a bit wide at Lodge, still comes off the corner well.
Yeah, he's just got to be pinpoint with this car. It seems like he just doesn't want to turn in, but look, he's starting to turn in a bit earlier now, but it's mid to apex. He's out the throttle. He doesn't want track limits. He's got so much understeer. Isaac Smith has to really think about this in that 1-2-3 Golf. He's got to place himself in the right place, because if he's too close, he's going to have to come out the throttle. Now he's got forward momentum. Now he's making him defend. He's got to try and switch him back and shock him, because if he sticks you on the outside, Chris Smiley's going to think, I'll have a bit of that, and you're going to miss another place.
Oh, he might try it around the outside again. No, he's got the traction. He's got the traction. He's there. Isaac Smith is not going to do it again. Surely, yes, he has. What? Isaac Smith, 2 of the best moves we've seen in ages in TCR UK. Round the outside at the Island hairpin, has gone into 3rd place. And Isaac Smith, well, it might not still be the first win in the championship, but he is proving you don't need to win to be a championship contender. When you're as classy a driver as that, consistency will do it.
That is unbelievable. Mid to exit of that Golf. I mean, the Golf is amazing with traction coming out that hairpin, but it just shows how bad Lewis Kent's car is coming out of that hairpin on a cleaner line.
Yeah, absolutely. That was remarkable. And now I think Isaac Smith will get away. He is 4 seconds or so behind the top 2. We'll have 2 laps to go at the end of this one, so I don't think he'll better 3rd, but that puts him best of the championship contenders, and that could be a really significant few laps there for Isaac Smith. Some top quality touring car racing, as good as you'll see anywhere else in the world. And Isaac into 3rd place. He's 3.6 seconds behind Winfield. We'll watch his lap times with interest, but I reckon 3rd place is probably where he will end up. Lewis Kent now needs to try and keep Smiley behind. Okay, he's lost the podium. 4th is still not a bad result if he can keep that Honda behind him.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm not too sure if he's got the front tyres on that car must be shot. Not great brakes, not brilliant traction. And Chris Smiley, remember, will have seen exactly what Isaac Smith's done, and that's what you take on board. But he's got Adam Shepherd to think about behind.
Lewis Kent outbraked himself slightly at the hairpin there, but actually, again, that wide line, you can sort of straighten up the steering a bit earlier and get on the throttle sooner and carry the speed over the hill. So Lewis gets away with it. You're absolutely spot on. Adam Shepherd having the run of form of his life here, closing right in, and Smiley almost into the back of Lewis Kent. It was Smiley's turn to get the braking wrong into Hislop's that time. Are they starting to run out of brakes, do you think?
Probably. Just everything's just starting to get hot. You know, that pedal will feel a bit longer. That'll mean that you'll brake earlier because you don't think it's going to stop. So there's all that going through. Your tyre pressures are through the roof. Isaac Smith's car looks so fast. It's still reeling off really quick lap times. He's still, you know, low 29s. He's as quick as the race leader, and he looks relentless.
I think he will be quicker than the leaders on this lap, actually. He just didn't quite leave himself enough time to go after them, but Isaac Smith, driver of the race to me, absolutely Isaac Smith. We have got to make that decision after the race, but that's where my vote's going, I can tell you that for nothing. Right, on to the final lap we go. 1 minute of the race left to go, and Jamie Tonks has a 1.9 second lead. Jamie Tonks, of course, has never won a race in the TCR UK Championship, and as we go through onto the 17th lap of the race, little statette for you here, Paul. This is the 1001st racing lap in TCR UK history. If we reached lap number 16 this time, it was 1,000 laps of racing completed over the last 5 years or so, and another milestone reached then by the TCR UK team here at Oulton Park. Lap number 17 then is begun, and it's all about this fight for 4th place. Lewis Kent, I reckon he might just have this now, you know.
Yeah, I think he's kind of like put his cards on the table, and Smiley doesn't seem to have the answers, does he? There's not long left, and the back end of the circuit for Lewis is a saviour.
It really is, isn't it? Lewis then through the Hislop chicane for the final time of asking. Did lead some of those laps earlier on, remember. Actually, he should have led enough laps now to move himself ahead of Dan Lloyd in the overall laps led category as well. So more records being broken by Lewis Kent in the championship. But it's not going to be a win today here at Oulton Park. Instead, it will be the area motorsport with Fast Star driver Jamie Tonks, his first season racing in TCR UK. He is finally going to do it. A race victory beckons here at Oulton Park, and a popular one at that. Jamie Tonks comes over to his lead, sees the checkered flag, and wins round number 9 of the TCR UK Championship. He is rightfully delighted with that. What a performance from Jamie Tonks. A really measured drive and a well-deserved race victory. Bruce Winfield comes home in 2nd place. Isaac Smith, though, driver of the race for me in 3rd. Chris Smiley is 4th. Hang on, Lewis Kent with a penalty, and Lewis Kent has been given, I think, a track limits penalty there because he's dropped down to 11th place. So that is major drama for Lewis Kent, and that is going to cost him even more championship points. Callum Newsham and Brad Hutchison also appear to have been given post-race track limits penalties. We weren't notified of that during the race, but yes, I can see on the timing screen that cars 1 and 17 have been given track limits penalties, and number 16 as well. Second time today that Callum Newsom's been given that penalty, and that again completely changes the championship perspective because Lewis Kent, having fought valiantly through the whole race to hang on to that 3rd and then 4th position, is going to lose it at the end with a track limits penalty. And well, for Area Motorsport, though, they don't care about that. They were 1-2 anyway on the road, and Jamie Tonks leads home Bruce Winfield. Bruce really would have wanted that race victory, but I think if he couldn't have it, he will be delighted that his teammate Jamie has finally been able to do it. And the plan has really come together here for Jamie, because he told me at the start of the weekend that he was sort of hoping that you know, if they could qualify towards the back end of the top 10, they'd be in the mix then for the reversed grid, and that is precisely what happened for Jamie, and he is now going to be very pleased that his plan came together, and not only a race win for him, but he's able to lead home an Area Motorsport 1-2, the 2 Fast Star livery Coopers, both running in the same stable as Bruce Winfield. And Rob Baker and his team will be absolutely ecstatic with that. What a performance that was. What a significant race result for the championship, because Max Hart is going to score 0 points. Lewis Kent, it looked like he was going to score 27 for finishing in 4th place, but the penalty drops him down to 11th, so just 9 points go his way. Chris Smiley, of course, therefore inherits 4th position, so 27 points for him. And what does that mean then for the championship standings? Well, it means that Isaac Smith is now going to be 32 points clear of Max Hart in second, who is 7 ahead of Smiley in third, who is 5 ahead of Lewis Kent in fourth place. I'll have to do some maths whilst we're hearing from those drivers regarding the dropped scores, because that again is where things start to get a little bit more complicated. But of course, with Max now notching up his second non-finish, that's it. He's used up his 2 freebies, his 2 potential dropped scores, and now if he has any more non-finishes, it's really going to affect his championship hopes. And breathe, everyone. That was 25 minutes of very intense action and a race win for Jamie Tonks, and he becomes the 20th different race winner in TCR UK history, and gets the Cupra TCR's 16th win in the category. And the Cupras, they may be one of the oldest TCR cars that's sort of still regularly raced in TCR competition, but they're proving that they are still more than capable of winning races and running at the front. We've had Cupras win a couple of times this year now, and Jamie Tonks adds his name to that list. Right, I am looking forward to these post-race interviews. Jamie Tonks, the race winner, his first ever win in the championship, and Paul O'Neill is down there to speak to him now.
Wowzers! Nice one, Andy. I cannot believe that. And a celebratory hug with everybody. The Fast R driver. That is amazing. Can I have a bit of that as well? Watch me fringe. Oh my word, that's a bit loud. My hair's gone to the back of my head. I'll never use that fan again. Jamie, you are TCI race winner.
It don't sound too bad, does it? I knew we had it. It was just getting in the position to do it. So we had a great start, and Bruce and Lewis had a little scrap, and I took advantage of it. I had the pace just to control. I had more, I could do more, but we just did enough.
Wow. Well, it looked like it was just going to be a podium, and we were speaking in comms saying, I don't think he's going to be able to do much about Bruce, but you had fastest lap for quite a long time of the race, and then you were just consistent, and then you just made that move. It was a proper move.
Yeah, I saw it building, so I thought, now I've got to make sure I'm nice and close for when it does kick off, and the cards fell nicely, didn't they?
Well, mate, it's been an amazing day, and amazing that was, and I'm sure I'll let you thank some sponsors, because there's some people that have helped you out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, Fast R. So without them, we just wouldn't be doing this. Paul and the team at Motorsport and Area Motors, these guys, I just wouldn't be doing this.
Absolutely amazing. Spot on. So your winner for race 2 is Jamie Tonks. Let's all give him a round of applause. I think it's very nice down here. Yes, we love that. We love that. Spot on. Well done, Jay. Right, Brucey Winfield, looked like you could have got the... After that race, mate, I'd be the incredible sulk. No money joking. Could have won that one.
Yeah. Obviously got the better of Lewis. Got the better of Lewis, and then I think Jamie and Lewis were next to each other, and it was like defend from one of them, so obviously it was going to be Lewis had defended. And then Jamie came around that side of me. I got a shunt up the back into the chicane, and that was that for the rest of the race. Just stayed there. So yeah, it was hard work. I tried to catch back up with him, but yeah, Jamie's driven well all weekend, and yeah, just couldn't keep up with him. So
I've got to say, there's a few drivers was saying he was very impressed with Jamie, because to be honest, the lad hasn't really drove that much, but he's come from where you've come in Civic Cup, and just shows you how strong Civic Cup is. Yeah, I think obviously everyone's aspiration from Civic Cup would be to come to this, but it's a great field of drivers in Civic Cup. It's obviously a great field of drivers in this, even better now, obviously got a bigger grid, so yeah, Jamie's done well, fair play. Yeah, and you want to get, more race wins like you did last year, and this is it now, it's the starters, and it's got to be. That'd be nice, yeah. We just had, bits of bad luck, unfortunately, misfires, punctures, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, we missed 3 practices this morning. Just the brake lights decided not to work all of a sudden this morning. They were fine yesterday. So yeah, just daft little things, unfortunately. It's not through one of the guys prepping the car, because they, He's obviously top notch, so I'm guessing Rich. So yeah, hopefully we can carry this momentum on to the next round. Top man, right, leave you to it, Bruce. Great stuff for the team. Let's go and speak to Isaac Smith over here with me. Let's have a picture.
Do you want to get in?
Live this, mate. Busy here. No adverts on, lad. Right. last interview for the top three. Isaac Smith, two of the best moves I have ever seen at the hairpin. I've never heard Andy McEwen sound like, I don't know, it was like a squeal of a dog. It was like, mate, it was amazing. It was like you had four-wheel drive. Frank Beeler wants his car back. Doesn't know who Frank Beeler is, does he?
No idea. Just cannot thank the race car consultant boys enough. Made a couple little adjustments up, and I just had to make the moves when they were there.
You've seen it coming, didn't you, mate? And the car just looked switched on. You know, it looked a little bit lazy when I watched it in the first race, but when the heat comes, I thought this might be even more of a struggle, but she looked switched on.
That was what we was mainly aiming for. With the track temps being so hot, we're trying to set a car up that's just going to last, and it just lasted and lasted, and we could keep just making moves whenever we needed.
Well, you did a good job, mate, and that is going to stick you right up there in the championship, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal at the end of the day. It's my first. We won it, so
we need to see some wins, though, don't we?
Yeah, but points mean prizes, don't they?
And I'm sure that win will come, mate. Have a good one.
Thank you very much, mate.
Top man, right. Follow me. Let's go and speak to Andy Wilmot, who is the winner of the Goodyear Diamond Trophy. In other words, he's over 40. He's old. Where's he gone? Andy Wilmot. I'm going to have to do his interview. Here he is. Hello. Andy, I don't really want to talk about the Goodyear Diamond Trophy. I have to, because contractually they give us £1 million and you don't see it. But my word, mate, you were there. It was happening.
It was happening. I got caught up in the Lewis Kent Tonks Winfield fight, and I just positioned myself wrong, and then that enabled Smiley to get past. A little while for my momentum to get back, and then by the time that happened, Isaac was on the back end of me, and he gave me a gentle tap. Thanks. And then then Shepherd, but because Shepherd was a teammate, I know he is, and it just that kind of got into my head. So. But I'm old and stuff, so I'm all right with it. But no, it's frustrating because following those two, obviously Lewis got a 5-second time penalty. It did mean a podium, a proper podium, a P3. But I know we'll keep fighting, but and I'm happy with the progress. So yeah, it's good.
To do that here, mate, is pretty special because this is probably the most difficult circuit that we'll come to, technically and bravery-wise. And I always thought you were a bit of a wimp.
Thanks. Yeah, well. I was a bit of a wimp sometimes, but I don't know. I gave me downstairs a bit of a squeeze, and yeah.
Wow. Okay, that went a bit wrong, didn't it? No, listen. Obviously, I'm only joking, mate. But I've got to say, you have been absolutely stunning today. I will never make a joke again. That was proper stuff, mate.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed that. Thank you.
Top man. Right, that is us. I think. Oh, who are we going to speak to here? Are we going to speak to Alex? Are we going to speak to Alex? Let me see. I think. Oh, actually, do you know what? I'm going to speak to you, my friend. Things today, isn't there? And we've covered the Diamond Trophy win. I mean, he's won too many times, isn't he? Today, Andy Wilmot. Stuart, it's been a good day for TCR UK.
Oh yeah, I mean, that last race was great again, and it just shows you. The cars are so equal, aren't they? I mean, and what's classed as the old Cooper. Everyone says one week, oh, you need 100, don't you? I said, well, do you? You know, the car that's leading the championship is a Golf.
Yeah.
You know, I think Isaac Smith's leading the championship. So all the cars with the BOP is working great. You know, you can buy a car and you can go racing and you got a chance of winning.
Yeah. This lad's been impressive. Alex, can we just borrow you a second, mate? Because I am thinking that you've won the Tom Walker Memorial Trophy again today for the second time.
No.
Who's won that?
No, he's won the fastest lap.
Fastest lap of yeah.
Yeah. It's on there. It's on the back there. Yeah.
We've got loads for him. Listen, but you've had a good weekend anyway, mate. So fastest lap, but you did win the Tom Walker Memorial earlier in race one. So pretty cool. You've had a good old day, mate.
Yeah, really good. That race was really hard. I had a great battle with Anthony. Really enjoyed it.
Your dad said to me, if you win a race this weekend, he's going to buy you a new race suit so you look like a racing driver.
Yeah, hopefully. It's up to him, but hopefully.
They're only 1,500 quid.
Wow. Anyway, let's bring the professionalism back. Stuart, let's go away. It's been a great old day, but I think we're going to go head up back to Andy McEwen. Andy Wilmot was the guy who was racing. Andy McEwen, sorry, mate.
I've been called worse, Paul. I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, thank you very much. Great to hear from them all down in the podium area. Just to do some quick housekeeping on points, I've now worked out the dropped scores, and Max Hart, because of course he had a non-score there, he gains back some points that he was previously dropping earlier in the season. So he now has, on dropped scores this is, a 10-point advantage over Chris Smiley, who is 3 ahead of Isaac Smith. So the top 3 in the championship covered by just 13 points. As we now head to Castle Combe on the 6th of August. There are just 3 events left. I don't know where this season's going. 6 races remaining in the TCR UK Championship, and you can catch all of the action from Castle Combe and beyond here on the TCR UK Facebook and YouTube pages, as well as, of course, all of the action from the Miltech Sports Civic Cup. They'll be joining us that weekend as well. Big thanks to Alpha Live for the tremendous live coverage here this weekend. Looking forward to working with them all again at Castle Combe. What a day we've had here at Oulton Park. Some truly, truly epic racing. It's really turned and twisted the championship story in directions we never really expected it to go in. What is going to be the next twist in the plot? Well, join us on the 6th of August at Castle Combe to find out. Back on the track, Winfield having absolutely none of it. Chris Smiley's Honda, and off goes the championship leader. Big drama for Smiley. Shepherd hanging on to the lead, but only just. The Audi loses 1 place, but tries to fight back as Constable's there as well. 3 wide, contact made. How they save that, I will never know.